Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by.
Are you in the Amazon marketplace and you want to bring your business from, I don't know, $1 million to $1 billion? We're talking to the right person who's going to help you grow your brand. Carolyn Lowe, what's going on?
Hey, Kenner, how's it going?
I'm loving this. This is going to be an exciting one because, so many people are making a lot of money on Amazon, and so many people also want to take their business to the next level. And obviously, you're the person who can do that and help so many people along the way.
Yes, we've done that for lots of folks, and we would like to do it for lots more. My goal is help 500 brands grow profitably. So I've got about 260 more till I retire.
I like that. That's a good goal. So how about this? Give us one example where you've completely turned an entrepreneur's life around by helping he or she get from X to X plus X percent. Give me one example.
My favorite one is a recently acquired brand. We were with them for about 3.5, 4 years. It was a dad and his two sons. They were doing 7 figures a month on Amazon. Like 2 years later, after they came in at 6 figures, they got to 7 figures with us, and they had a 9-figure exit with 4 employees.
Yeah, that's a very, very good example. So let's take a step back. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, because it's a unique background, it sounds like.
Yeah, I've been in e-commerce for 25 years, not to date myself, but Dell Computers, it was Dell Computers at the time in 99. I was living in Boston and they were growing their consumer business. And so they recruited me and brought me down to Austin, and I ran like direct marketing because people were buying their first computer in 1999. Okay. So think back to iPhone didn't exist, and ran that, and then ran a portion of Dell.com, the e-commerce website where people were building and buying their computers. So, sort of did that. And then after we got to 8 billion for his division, it just wasn't as fun anymore. So I took some time and stayed home with my kids who were young at the time. And then I went and worked for a small $3 million mom and baby company. And I was their entire e-commerce department. So I ran their website, their Google ads, their Facebook ads, their email marketing. And they had this fledgling little Amazon business that was doing 10,000 a month. And I said, wow, all these moms are shopping at Target and Amazon. So I kind of blew that up to 400,000 a month, and then said, I want to do this for 499 more businesses. So I started ROI Swift in 2015 to help brands just like that brand Upspring. They had a very successful exit with Reckitt Benckiser.
Nice work. ROI Swift. Now, I'm assuming the website is roiswift.com, correct?
Correct.
And what is the best way to get a hold of you? I always forget that, by the way.
You could go to the website. We're like the cobbler with no shoes, though, because we spend all our time on everybody else's business. So might not be reflective of how great we are, but you can go to roiswift.com, or you can always find me, Carolyn Lowe, Lowe, on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know what you mean by the cobbler has to wear shoes or whatever. You're so busy helping other people, it's hard to kind of pay attention to your own stuff. But obviously, your company is growing. So let me ask this. You mentioned, Meta or Facebook, Amazon. Why Amazon? Why do you think that's the right spot to, for an entrepreneur to take their, hopefully net worth and increase it?
Because, this is what I thought was interesting. Someone like Jeff Bezos, when he was in charge of Amazon, he was making decisions today for 3 years in the future. And so when they bought Whole Foods, that decision was made 3 years before they bought Whole Foods. So I just have a lot of confidence in Amazon in terms of just them. They've constantly reinvented themselves, right? Started with just books, and then they became A to Z. You can buy anything on Amazon. And now they're, 5 years ago, their advertising revenues surpassed Microsoft's advertising revenues. And it's like, now they're an advertising company. They're basically like Google. More searches are starting on Amazon than Google today.
I got it. So that makes a lot more sense. Plus, I think Amazon's, I mean, they're such a big system. It's such a big company, it's such a big ecosystem. It's probably going to be around for a while. It's not, you don't have a bunch of risk there.
And they're hard to take down, right? Walmart's tried to compete, Target's tried to compete, but I mean, you can't beat the same day Prime. It shows up at your doorstep, in 4 hours.
It's so easy. It's just crazy. I mean, I always, even if something's more expensive, I just go to Amazon because it's so easy. Take a picture of something. Somehow it's ordered. I don't understand how they do that. Or I think it and it's ordered on Amazon, kind of freaky, by the way. All right. I got it.
They do a lot with Alexa too. Like people are ordering like crazy on their Alexa. They walk in and they say, hey, order me some more paper towels or order me some more, scratch tablets or whatever, whatever you're ordering all the time. So I just think they've made it so easy.
Which again, if I'm paying a little bit more for something, I don't know if that's always the case, but if I'm paying a little bit more for something, but it's easy, that my job's done there as far as I'm concerned. And Amazon's job's done as far as I'm concerned. So, all right. So what are some of the things, let's say I'm a, $10 million a year brand, let's just say, and I want to take my business to the next level on Amazon. What are some of the things I should be thinking about to do so?
Yeah, I think the first thing, and you're going to love this, Kenner, because you're a numbers guy, right? I love numbers. We used to say at Dell, data wins arguments. And if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So first thing to do is, okay, how big is my market? People will come to us all the time. Hey, I think I can be doing $1 million a month. And I'm like, your entire market is not even selling $1 million a month in this category. So the first thing is know your available market size, right? And then the next thing is, know where you are and what do you need to do to compete. It's like your website. What's your biggest problem? Is it traffic or conversion? Same thing with Amazon. It really, if I want to simplify it, comes down to two things: traffic and conversion. You either need more eyeballs on your product pages or you need more of those eyeballs converting. So that's where our team spends all of our focus, is how to get more eyeballs on your page and how to get more of those eyeballs to convert. And so we've got so many great case studies of either increasing traffic or increasing conversion.
And the deal because you're a specialist at said marketplace, that being Amazon. Yeah, I understand. Okay, so and what's an engagement look like? And by the way, you're not being paid for this. I'm not being paid to market you. I want to know kind of what it's like to be engaged with your firm, and then I'll ask some more questions as a dovetail to that.
Yeah. So our firm, we put 5 people on every brand. So we have a strategic account manager, an ad specialist, an organic specialist, a copywriter, a designer. So other than keeping product in stock and answering customer questions, our team of experts, we don't hire 20-year-olds just out of college. Like everybody's been working in the platform for at least 7 to 8 years. And so they've seen it all, Oh, we know how to, Amazon took our listing down. Okay, no problem. We get it back up in 2 hours. Oh, Amazon did this. Oh, we can fix that. So we've sort of seen it all, lived it all, I have the gray hair to prove it. So, that's what our team focuses on, is sort of a holistic approach of not just like, hey, can I do your listings and run your ads? But like, here's a way. We did this with a oral care brand. They were, we said, hey, in retail, you need one of those hanging bags for like floss picks, right? Well, at Amazon, you don't need to have a hanging bag. So we basically said, turn it into a box, and it's shrunk the dimensions enough that they saved 25% on their fulfillment fees. So they literally got $1 more per unit, which was crazy, And so those are kinds of the things that we love to do, is like, I think Amazon has enough money in their pocket, and, don't call them, tell them that. I know you're on the road, but I'm like sort of the Robin Hood. We love to keep more money in the brand's pocket, and whether that's changing sizes or making your product pages more effective, so you're paying less for advertising. That's sort of we like to see brands win on Amazon. It can be a profitable channel, but I can't tell you how many brands we've seen just, not make any money on Amazon. We're like, you could actually make more money if you stopped selling this. So we love to do a SKU level P&L on every item at Amazon.
Wow. Literally? Wow. Wow, I love that. You're doing your research. I guess you could do that when you have 5 people in every engagement too, right?
Yeah, and basically Amazon gives it all to you except for your COGS. We never give Amazon our COGS. We're never going to tell them what it costs. So they spit out all your other costs, fees, how much you're spending on advertising on that individual SKU. And with one brand, we saw before COGS, one was making 26% and one was making 72%. And we said, well, let's pull back spending on the 26% and let's double down on this 72% product.
Mm-hmm. Understand. I understand. So, okay. So I don't even know, maybe you have confidentiality, et cetera, but can you mention any brands that you've been able to help, or is it confidential?
There's brands that we've been able to help, everything from natural cleaning brands like Let Me Shine. And I know I can say that because the CEO wrote an endorsement of my book. So I know that, he's on my book jacket. So I know I can say his name. And then we work with a great apparel brand called Chubbies. And then they're part of Solo Stove. And then we work with another great brand called Incrediwear. So we love brands, the Humble Co. They're better for you oral care. So we love sort of the best of the best brands. We don't take 42 brands in the apparel category. We really like to work with those sort of premium brands that deliver an amazing product to customers.
You mentioned something I want to dive into a little bit more, because you're a wealth of knowledge, clearly, and you wrote a book. So I'm assuming some of the people out there who are watching and listening to this could be benefiting by looking at your book. Can you go into that in a little bit of detail?
Yeah, so I do a lot of mentoring with early stage companies, sometimes specifically female founders. So I love to sort of give back to someone who's starting their journey and help them avoid all the mistakes I've made. So the book is called Business Do's and Absolute Don'ts, and it's applied wisdom from my time with Dell, Costco, Amazon, and multiple startups. So I kept having the same conversation. I said, let me just write this all in a book and just say, it's a quick read. I'll send you a copy if you want to, Kenner. But and then you just you can read this and you're like, wow, it's like you said, it's mind blowing, but it's basic. Like, to me, just having done this for 30 years, this is what I do. So it's everything from all the mistakes I've made as a CEO and sometimes hiring the wrong people to everything you should know sort of about e-commerce before you go and just say, I'm going to go sell on Amazon. Like I said, know your numbers.
So wait a minute. So hold on. Do you market people's books too, or is that not part of your deal? Because it's maybe small or pedestrian in comparison to overall brands.
Books are a lot harder. Amazon controls that, and there's not as much you can do there. There's advertising you can do, but there's not as much you can do to market a book as you can to market another type of product. Like, so for example, if I'm marketing a water bottle, there's so much more I can do with that than marketing a book. Like, there's use cases, there's reviews, there's Q&A. Like, a book is a book, right? They're either going to be interested in the content or they're not. It doesn't matter how beautiful your product detail page is. Yeah.
I think a book because I have a book coming out too, modernmillions.ai. I think it's a great way to market yourself, plus get information out there. And instead of a business card, no one has business cards anymore, really. You have a book out there and it gets passed on, especially if you digitize it as well. That being with, a website, people go to the website, you capture information. I love the idea of books. Anyway, it sounds like that's not your deal, but you have
I love books. I do love books. I read a lot of books. I'm reading The Daily Stoic right now by Ryan Holiday. I love books, but yeah, marketing books is much, much harder than marketing, bamboo toothbrushes.
Yeah, especially with bamboo toothbrushes. Whoa. Especially with artificial intelligence, there's so many books out there now. And anyway, that's another thing. But I appreciate the fact that you have a book, and that's pretty cool. And by the way, where do we go to get that book?
You can go to my favorite place to shop, Amazon.com, and just put in my name, Carolyn, LOWE, and it'll come up. It's usually the first result. So
very, very cool. So if you can, this is a tough question. So for an entrepreneur out there, maybe who is or isn't in the space of Amazon, what's one, because you've been around for a while, although you look like you're 25.
Oh man, I didn't even pay you to say that.
What's one bit of advice you would give to an entrepreneur let's say, who's trying to take their business, maybe selling widgets, real estate agent or whatever, to the next level?
I love the book 10x is easier than 2x. That's one of my favorites is, people think small rather than think big, and it's true. So I think that there's a lot out there. I also think that just being realistic about how big is my market and what could I do to dramatically change my trajectory. We're like, okay, for us, hey, do we buy another company? Do we offer this other service? So everything just comes back to finding those numbers and what makes the right sense for you, for your business, right?
What's one thing that you look back over your career and say, man, I wish I would have done this differently?
I wish I would have started a business before I was 48. I look at all these people who are like 40 under 40, and I was like, wow, I spent 6 years working at Dell, and we all say that we got the most amazing education at Dell. I mean, 28-year-old running a $2 billion division. And, but, I really wish that I had done this sooner. And as you get older, right, I have 2 kids in high school. It's like, oh, you become a little more risk averse when you're staring down at college. So my biggest advice is if you think you want to do it, go do it. Don't wait. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I totally agree. I semi-retired pretty darn early, and I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I didn't read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad for me, which is an unbelievable book. And actually, I'm a podcast partner with Sharon Lechter, who was co-author on it. And I would still say start earlier than later, because if you might as well do it when you're young. Your risk profile is a lot. It opens the door to being able to be an entrepreneur. And later, when you have kids, it gets a little scary. But I completely agree with that. I think a lot of people, although, by the way, most of the people who are watching and listening to this are entrepreneurs, but still, if they have kids out there, I think it makes sense to start earlier rather than later, and you'll be happy you did, generally speaking.
I totally agree. And then we had this great session here in Austin with Bill Perkins, the author of Die with Zero. And it was all about you don't want to die with $10 million and your kids are 60 years old. They can't use it when when you're 80 and they're whatever 60. So it was all about sort of harnessing that and giving them that maybe to start a business. Don't hang on to that money till you can't do anything with it, right? It's very different hiking. My brother-in-law, who's in his 60s, just came back from hiking K2. He just scaled K2 with some people, and it's very different doing it at 60 versus doing it at 40, right? So that's I like that whole look at your life in 5-year blocks and what do you want to do? And what can you do when you're 50 that you probably can't do when you're 70, right? And then sort of plan out your life in those 5-year blocks.
I know for me, man, I feel like I'm just getting started, because artificial intelligence is now finally catching on. We've been doing it for years, and now I'm all excited about starting my career, because now AI is kind of cool. Before, people used to laugh at me, which I still am embarrassed about, but now I guess I have the last laugh. But I'm so glad AI has taken over and people accept it, and so my career is just starting. But anyway, going back to the point, I love that idea. Start early. You'll be glad you're an entrepreneur. Plus, there's so many tax advantages about starting out. I mean, being an entrepreneur, there's just no doubt it makes sense to do that.
Yeah, especially, I'm staring down at college applications and as an entrepreneur, it's more so than if you were, say, a VP or director at a Fortune 100 company. There's more things you can do as an entrepreneur with your finances. So I'd love to know from you though, Kenner, what's your favorite AI finance hack? What do most people not know?
I like that. I would say a lot of people, and you included, if you're doing any artificial intelligence, almost any, or innovation, a lot of people don't realize the government gives you tax dollars, not only deductions, but tax dollars, meaning tax credits, which are equal to dollars, for pushing the envelope as far as technology, innovation, et cetera. And not only at the federal level, but also at the state level. So I would say that's a hack. I mean, as an example, I took off a month earlier in the year. I took off a month and did research, quote, innovation, et cetera. And the government's giving me money for that time that I spent. Full month, 30 days of really not doing anything else but research, and the government's paying me via tax dollars. And I love that. I mean, that's a lot of people who are using ChatGPT, et cetera, could be in that same camp, and that's getting money from the government. So I would consider that a hack. I love that question. Thank you.
That is awesome. See, I love when I have a conversation and I learn something new. People are, people will be like, "Oh, I can't believe you're so nice. You took a meeting with this founder who, is doing $25,000 a month in business." I said, you know what? I can learn something from every single person. So, and I can learn a lot more from you, Kenner. So,
I
and
love
think
it.
most people could too.
So, all right, as we get ready to land this plane, what's one thing we haven't talked about that can add value for an Amazon, someone who is in the Amazon marketplace?
I think the biggest thing is, and we've done this with a lot of brands and a couple brands that have exited, is we do what we call product cloning. So you might have a product that's made for one thing, but then you find out people are using it for something else, right? So here's an example. This brand had grip tape, right? It's like sticky tape that you put on the back of your phone, or, where you don't want things to slide around. They were doing okay. And then we used AI, and we threw all the reviews into AI and had to analyze them. We found out people were using it in their kitchen on their cutting board, so their cutting boards didn't slide around. So what we did was we said, okay, just make another UPC code, call it chef script tape. We'll make all the images all around the kitchen. That product 2x'd the other product. The other product didn't lose sales, but there was a whole nother market just by, I think it maybe cost them $500 or $600 in a packaging redesign to add chef script tape and add another UPC code. And it was phenomenal and people loved it. And we're like, here's an easy way to triple your revenue and without a lot of effort. So I'm a huge proponent of low effort, high impact.
Wow, that's a good, right there is a huge value add, not only for our people, but also for your clients. You've shown ways you can add value right off the bat.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. So again, you're not paying me for this in any way. So I'm not asking for a commercial, but no, actually I am asking for a commercial. Tell us a little bit about your firm, how you add value, meaning what can you, I'm going to give you, space for a commercial. Tell us about your firm, et cetera, for 1 minute, and let's go. Hopefully some people are going to want to, buy into your services because they add value clearly.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is we only want to partner with folks that we can actually grow and grow profitably. So part of our whole assessment is we'll do a complimentary assessment. So you've got to be doing at least, $60,000, $70,000 a month on Amazon for us to have anything to analyze. But once you're there, that's kind of the sweet spot, anywhere from $60,000 to $250,000 a month. That's where we can really take brands that have product market fit. We do an assessment. We look at the market size. We look at their market share. We look at what they could do. We just did this with an amazing brand. We said, hey, there's another whole market and here's how big it is. And they're like, oh, that's great. We actually have that product under development now. So that's what we love, is just this strategic and profitable growth. We feel like people, if they make the wrong decisions, they're out of business. Either if they bootstrap, they run out of money, or if they've got VCs breathing down their neck. So, our whole goal is let's do stuff that's profitable, and let's not do stuff that doesn't work. So sort of more of what works, less of what doesn't. And you'd be so surprised every time we go in and look at someone's account, we see other agencies or ad people or whoever wasting like 15 to 20%. Like we saw one where they spent $30,000 in ad dollars for 0 sales. And like, that breaks my heart. Like that somebody would take your money and have no idea what they're doing. So I sort of, started this firm to give agencies a better name. Agencies, there's a lot of bad apples out there.
Wow, Carolyn Lowe, adding some value. I like that. And that little commercial there. So, okay, I just thought of one last question because I always forget. Maybe someone's jumping on a little bit late. How does someone get a hold of you? And I'm going to ask about the engagement for your firm. If someone wants to engage your firm, what does that look like specifically?
Yeah, sure. So you can always reach us on our website, roiswift.com, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, although you do have to know my email address, so you can probably guess at it. And then in terms of our model, we do retainer plus percentage of growth. I don't like percentage of ad spend. That just encourages agencies to waste more of your money on ad dollars. We think that we should grow when you grow. So we charge like a baseline retainer and then a percentage of your revenue growth. And that has worked out so amazingly for brands.
I like that because you're growing as they grow, just like you're saying. Sometimes people will spend, too much on ads just because the consultant is suggesting so, and it doesn't add to the bottom line, and it just hurts you. I love that's really, 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 really smart.
Thanks.
All right, once again, this is Ken French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. You know how to get a hold of Carolyn. Thanks, everybody.